So is it you far surpassed what you thought you were going to make. You've made already triple what you thought you'd make for the whole campaign.
Yeah.
In terms of the response, who's been salty, who's been supportive?
Well, everybody that I expected to be supportive have been, plus some. You know, people on our little pocket of the internet, little corner, they have done their videos. They promote. I haven't paid a dime in marketing, nothing, other than my time, if that's what you want to consider. But I have not asked of any of these guys that are in our on our corner of the internet to talk about this stuff. They did it on their own accord, and I appreciate them so much for doing that. And they went out of their way to show a lot of support, and that's to be expected. But there were also some that I didn't expect. Yeah. There was also some that I didn't expect. Got my partners about to bounce here, and it's like the haters have been, I guess, the people that you expect as well. However, I will say this: these there are folks that looked at this like they are jealous, envious. I guess that's part of what it is as well, jealousy and envy. But there are some folks that you think would be on our side that unfortunately look at my success and this brand success as a threat upon them. So that's the type of stuff that I don't like, because I'm not like that at all. I've never been the guy that felt like he had to be the head honcho of anything. Like, I would love for other people, and because this is something that I believe in with the parallel economy and all that stuff, like, we need more people being out there, being great and seeing their success. You know what I mean? That's what we need. That is a necessary thing. So for me, if someone takes the model that I had and all of the stuff that I did and can apply it to themselves, I want that. I welcome that. That's something that we need more of. But there's other folks that look at it like, no, I got to be the people that look that the person that people look to as the acceptable alternative. So there are folks
Okay.
that will grimy, that will kind of just out of nowhere kind of throwing their shade and being snide or whatever at what it was that we're doing, because for whatever reason they looked at the success that we had as a means to like knock them, which you're doing something fundamentally wrong if that's what you think. Because the old saying is the rising tide, sort of raises all ships. And there have been a lot of people that have benefited from this, and you should, but you hating it. Like, that's kind of goofy. So yeah, there's been a couple of those. That doesn't overshadow at all the support. Most of the supporters have come from the people that we should expect support from, and they didn't have to give it, yet they went out of their way to really throw themselves out there and rally behind the Rippaverse project, and I thank them so much for it.
It really is. It's all about like the marker of time because people go, man, wasn't he just talking about starting a comic? And not only is it well on its way, but he's made how much money? And it's inside of what? It's 2 years. You're like, it makes people go, oh shit, what have I done in 2 years? Or like, have I promised my fans something similar? Have I promised myself something similar? It could be people that like maybe they never even uttered the words or put the goal even out into the universe. They're going, oh man, like I just watched this happen in real time. Like in the time that you could have had two pandemic babies. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he has
true
his
that.
he has his book coming out, and I noticed it with comics too. I noticed comics that like, okay, we're free speech. It's kind of like with comedy. I was like confused comedy and comics because it sounds the same.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
comic is a stand-up comic. There is kind of like the woke side of it, the mainstream side of it, and then there's like the free speech, not anti-woke side of it tends to be more libertarian, tends to be more right-wing, tends to be more conservative, but not necessarily. It could be
Yeah,
like disaffected liberals, politically
yeah,
homeless people,
yeah,
just someone like Tyler Fisher, whose agent said, "Sorry, we're not booking white guys anymore," and then he ends up on this side too. And everyone you think is on this side, oh, shouldn't we all be supporting each other? It's like,
mhm,
no, there's competition, there's jealousy, there's
mhm,
someone's like, "Oh, I should be the lead guy for the
yeah,
anti-woke comics," or like, "I should be." People get jealous of who you're in with. People get jealous of the other shows you go on. So there's a lot going on, and it's like ultimately, it's you are your own competition from last year. Comparing yourself to me or to you, it's like, well, you were never going to be me. You were never going to be you and do it your way. So But it's just so easy. It's so easy to watch somebody absolutely crush it and focus, and it really is triggering, and it makes you go, "Oh man, I haven't done shit," you know. So
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I want people to take from it on a serious note, take from it and be great. Like if it inspires people and people use that energy to kind of be like, you know what, I ain't been on my shit. And there's been people that reached out to me with that. They've been like, look, man, I was inspired. I was gonna do this project. Sometimes it's writing, sometimes it's not. And man, I'm gonna do this. I said I was gonna do it, never did it, and now I'm gonna do it because I saw what you did. That's what it's about, man. Like I said, it can't just be me anyway. It never could. All right, this is something that's way bigger than I am, and what I believe in the parallel economy and what it needs to achieve. Like we need complete decentralization of all entertainment aspects. So it ain't just comics. It ain't just comics in your sense. It's like it's basically all across the board. There's a fundamental issue. It's an archaic model anyway with how entertainment's being done. And in order for those alternatives to exist, well, it's a lot of work that we got to done. It's going to be a lot of work we have to do, and there's going to be a lot of trial and error based upon that. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I welcome that. And like I said, there'll inevitably be someone that's more successful than I am doing something similar, and I want that. Like I want that. I want greatness from those people.
yeah. I'm trying to figure out because I'm very new to like the comic world. And I'm trying to like all I have to compare it to is like the comedy world. So when I saw this article, I'm like, okay, I wonder who's supporting Eric. I wonder who's like low key, possibly jealous or whatever, ideologically not supporting him. Um, so I guess there's Bleeding Cool, which is similar. Are they similar to Bounding into Comics, or
No,
they basically write about comics?
they're right about comics, but Bleeding Cool is more like a lot of the mainstream kind of comic access media bull crap. That's what Bleeding Cool is. So yeah, they're like more of a they've or tried to position themselves as being a part of like access media reporting on mainstream comic books in the industry.
Okay, and this article here came out, gosh, not maybe 2 weeks ago.
Hmm.
And let's see here. Controversial comic news website Bleeding Cool under massive fire for failing to cover Eric July's overwhelmingly successful Rippaverse campaign. And I was reading through it, and it
Yeah,
to me it seemed like the guy, and that's what's nice is having a fan and a community group that will you don't have to sit. I mean, you're too busy to be scouring the internet looking for
yeah,
people who are not with you. You're too busy working and dealing with everyone who is for you. But it is nice when your fans can be like, "Oh, hey, why haven't you written about this? Like,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is a black owned business. They're
yeah.
absolutely crushing it." And then I think one of the guys was like, "Oh, he didn't respond to my email." It's like even if you don't get a response from an email, like you can still do journalism.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what that was about, but this guy that I believe John De La Rose was the one that wrote this article for Bounding into Comics, and he talked about Richard Johnson, and that's whose name is literally Dick Dixon. So that works for what he is and what he's about. But he the article that he did write about the Riververse was a lot of jabs, personal jabs of kind of the mission and all of that sort of stuff. He didn't cover it at all objectively. And many other folks have talked. This is the biggest story in comics right now. And I ain't saying this to gas me up. I'm like, dude, I just went out there and it's not even been a month yet. It'll be a month going into the next couple of days, and I will have outsold basically every single graphic novel, which is what they would have called mine. Every single American, not manga, but American graphic novel of last year. Like
Holy
I'm
shit.
at the number one spot. Like the River I saw number one is at the number one spot in terms of sales. You think CBR, all these mainstream big comic book companies will be all over it. Now, of course, if I had the right politics, they'd be all over it. Oh, look, this black guy, self-made, did all this stuff. They couldn't stop writing about me.
Hmm.
But the ones that have done it, they do it like this guy did, and he talks crap. He does passive aggressive stuff instead of actually being objective about it. So the ones that will cover it take the shots, and then you have the others who know it's a thing, but they're going out of their way to try to ignore it.
I can imagine it makes them look so dumb, and uh, it makes them even more obvious, like, "Oh, this is about virtue signaling, this is about identity politics." It's like you're not about, uplifting artists.
Mm.
it's just like I don't know. To me, it's just I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to make it look so obvious.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's clear. It's clear and obvious because we've seen that. I mean, I've speaking of haters, which I can't believe I didn't mention this. This is other guy who's a black well, he called himself the number one black publisher. Unfortunately, that is no longer the case. And he had a lot of negative things to say about me because appeared on Fox.
Uh
Or no,
oh.
or I took a picture with Kyle Rittenhouse. That really pissed him off. I don't know why. He doesn't know why he's mad at Kyle Rittenhouse. He's just mad. But that guy has gotten plenty of coverage from the usuals. Like, oh, look, this black guy that has started his own comic book company. You know, good for him. You know what I mean? I had nothing negative to say about him until he, for whatever reason, start taking shots at me. But yeah, like, you know, and Dan Fraga, he's a comic book veteran. Big shout out to him for addressing this, you know, and bringing this up to this Dick Dixon guy of the bleeding cool. But yeah, like these guys if I had the right politics, they would cover me. No doubt about it. And I'm fine with that. We got guys like Bounding in the comics, like you're reading right now, they had no problem covering Gus. So other people, when we talk about alternatives, hell, you got people right now building an alternative to this bull crap that we see and what we're talking about right now. So I'm okay with that. So let them cover. But Bounding in the Comics is doing it. They haven't like I haven't like John Del Rose. I think he brought that up, if I'm not mistaken, in this article. It's like he hasn't interviewed me. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? He doesn't even know him and I have never had any direct conversation with each other or anything. Yeah, he was able to cover the success of this first campaign. So somehow they can figure out how to do it, but the
Hmm.
mainstream guys can't figure out how to do it. That's because they're not interested in uplifting artists or any of that stuff. These guys are politically motivated and social politically motivated, and that's what they prioritize. Simple as that.
Right. It's not you don't want to uplift the enemy, and you also that means you have to acknowledge that you are failing, that you are losing, that
True
if you
that.
think of it in terms of teams, like your team is does not have the spotlight right now.
Yep, that's what it is, and they don't like that. They're so aggravated at that, and like I said, I'm okay with that. Like if they're going to be mad at that, they're telling more so on themselves than
Mhm.
anything. They never cared about comics. They never cared about this whole all fist in the air pro black. Oh, it's another creator of. They don't give a crap about any of that. It always had to do with different colors, genders, and all that saying the same bullshit. That's what all they ever cared about. And you know, so big shout out to them. I guess at minimum they're telling on themselves.
Eric, all you had to do was make out with one dude and you could
Yeah.
have been
Oh,
featured,
holy
you
shit!
know?
I'd be fucking. Oh man, I pride. Man, holy shit! If I did that, I'd have been all over this goddamn place like that. You couldn't have got rid of me. Like I'd have been on every channel you name it. I'd have been over there. Ellen DeGenerate. I don't know if she's still
You're
degenerate
like,
if she's still doing her show.
more press or monkeypox?
Yeah. So that trade
Tough
off is
choice.
oh man. I don't
What's
know
gonna
about
last
that
longer?
one.
Rich Johnson wrote here the last time I wrote something, I got attacked, lied about, and generally abused online.
Oh
Something
God.
that he went out of his way to encourage, not really an incentive to do it again. Yeah, he sounds like a butthurt, like ex boyfriend or something. It's like just be professional, do your job, or don't comment on it like this. Don't let people know that it's personal.
And
Uh,
that's the thing about this fucking idiot because what he did was he made the article, right? He wrote the article, it's passive aggressive, he took all the shots, people call him out on it, and now he's playing the victim. You know what I mean? It's like, oh well, no, I gotta be no, like, dude, you were talking shit. Everybody, the article is still public. You were talking shit unprovoked. You did not cover this in any objective matter. You think you'd be all over it, considering that you claim to care so much about comic books and all that stuff. You did not do even your job as a reporter. And I know there's some tweet where he says, like, I'm not a journalist, I'm a reporter. It's like you didn't do it, whatever you want to fucking call yourself. You didn't do a good job at it. And people called you out on it. They called you out on your bias. And now he's trying to play the victim, like, oh, I was abused. Like, get the hell out of here, man.
Also, I still have had no response to my initial emails, which were read but ignored.
He's not getting a response certainly now. Why would I do that? It's funny because I did talk about this. Like I saw email under that name, and I thought I didn't know what if it was real because he sent an unprofessional email. Number one, it
Oh.
wasn't like at Bleeding Cool or anything. It was at like Gmail or something like that. It was his Gmail account, and then he said it was like the rhetoric that he used, like care for a chat or something like that. It wasn't like any professional email like, hey, I'm reaching out to you, I'd love to chat about your like this venture or whatever. That was none of that. It was an unprofessional email
Mm.
coming from an account that I could have been anybody. Fucking, I didn't know who the hell that fucking was. And he's like trying to play the victim now. Like, dude, no, now you for sure not fucking get a response. We know you're a bad actor. You've been outed as a bad actor. Why on earth would I engage?
I wonder if he wrote you like a half-assed email just so you would ignore it, just so he could say he
That
ignored my
could be the
email.
case. That could be the case. That's what bad actors do. They do stuff like that. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past them at all.
Like no grammar, no no
Yeah, it
professional
was terrible. It
email.
was a terrible. It was a terrible email, and I looked at that. I was like, okay, I don't know if that's legitimate or not. Whatever. And I googled this guy because I didn't know the guy before. And I googled that name. I was like, all right, he does stuff on the Blink. I was like, I don't know if this email is real. I don't know if it's someone like it's fake or whatever.
Hmm.
So and it was unprofessional email. So it's like, why the fuck would I respond to that?
Oof. Wow. Yeah, I'm sure he's regretting it now. Or it's what he wanted to have happen. He just was hoping that no one would call him out on it and he could just
Probably, yeah. He wanted to. I guess he tried to benefit from it, and it didn't really work to his benefit.
he just wanted to keep his head in the sand. Oh yeah, and here you acknowledged it here. Bleeding Cool article attempts to passively clown on the Rippaverse. Esom, is it Esom or
Isom,
Isom?
Isom.
Isom, number one campaign. We always knew that these disingenuous people would be trying anything they could to take shots or delegitimize what we're building. They can't stop us. Check out the video now live on YouTube. And you know what I appreciate? Like, anytime you talk about this, you're never like you're never like me. You always say we. You always
Yeah,
acknowledge and give props to your team.
yeah. It doesn't happen without him. You know what I mean? This isn't
Mhm.
without not only the community but the team of people that are behind us. Yeah, this shit doesn't happen with them. They absolutely deserve to be acknowledged.
Wow. Yeah, so that's the best part is, like, when your fans can kind of point things out for you, fight some of your battles for you in the comments, have your back, that's how you know you're making a really good impact.
Yeah.
So let's see, Bleeding Cool, anybody else that kind of
That's
along
the
those lines of
everybody.
shade?
All right, so there was like some stupid. I forget what the name of that website. Sports. They usually focus on sports, like Sports Keto or something like that. And,
Barstool?
no,
No.
no, 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 no. It wasn't one of them. It was like Sports Keto or something like that. They
Okay.
wrote about it, and it was the same thing, hit piece, basically. But other than that, like the big guys are actively trying to ignore it. Like the big, like comicbook.com or CBR, they have not touched this damn story, even though it should be the big. They will cover. They have no issues covering someone that sells fucking 100 copies. Let alone
Hmm.
someone that did what we did. They are not touching this shit. Like they are trying to actively ignore it. Like is what it is. And the ones that will write about it, it'll more than likely be a hit piece. So and I'm
Yeah, I
okay
mean,
with
how
that.
much coverage did that I still remember a comic that was so widely covered, it was like a girl, like, swinging around on her
Oh,
armpit hair.
armpits.
I was like,
Yeah,
"Why
yeah,
am I seeing, like, so many people talk about this?" Like, "Why am I seeing, like, the girl who can, like, fling her menstrual blood?" I was like, "How am
yeah,
I"
yeah.
I was like, "Why am I seeing this? How come this is getting so much press?"
Yep.
Uh, and yours actually looks like a without knowing much about comics, I'm like, "Okay, this looks like a real comic book, not like, oh, we're trying out something new."
Yeah, nah, we came out swinging, man. This is life's work. So we weren't playing around with this.
Yeah. We got some comments here from Lil Chad. Don't say that Chrissie Mayr Eric has Eric has haters who are convinced he's grifting and this whole thing is an elaborate scam. It's the craziest stuff you will ever hear on the internet.
Yes, I've never seen. I mean, you want to talk about just a goalpost with wheels on it, man. Like these guys are impressive. They're impressive. Like it went from, oh well, it'll never come out to, oh well, it won't do that well. Oh well, he doesn't have the books, and then I do the books. I show like we got the fucking books right here. You know what I mean? Like it's no. They see me. Oh well those tubes that he has in there, they're empty. They don't have posters in them. Then I go through shoot a video and I'm pulling the posters out of the damn tubes. They're like, well, the next campaign won't do this. Like they're moving that goalpost as much as they possibly can. My lawyer talked. He brought this up. He's like, dude, if this was a scam, this is the most elaborate fucking thing that I've ever seen in my life. It's
It's a
like if
big
it was,
long game. Yeah.
man, we want to talk about a long game and holy shit, like this was the scam of all scams. I will go down in history if that was the case. But what it is these are folks that are so ideologically obsessed that this can't be true. A guy can't come out there and this guy that they've hated for so long be successful, and the people that they've deemed as racist and the homophobes and sexist and all this other shit, they actually rallied behind this guy and supported him in his project. Like, no, that can't happen. Like, so they try to delegitimize. That's Operation Delegitimize is where they're at now. First, it wasn't going to come out. Now they got to try to figure out how this somehow a scam or it's fake. And if they want to keep moving the goalposts, I mean, whatever. Good luck, because I'm not going fucking anywhere.
Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.